even if it could help people and gain trust. Notice how this is only and simply the interest of political parties and simply the interest of people from the higher hierarchy of society. It affects so greatly, so badly towards the poor people, towards the most vulnerable actors, which we have again mentioned over and over from the very first speaker from our side of the House. A few flaws from the opposition side of the House. Firstly, they lack analysis in a lot of things. Their arguments did not touch the spirit of the motion. Their main argument revolves around the idea that these charities, these incentives given out by political parties would benefit society because then it would somehow cure the economy, because somehow it would make Indonesia great. Instead, we've completely stated over and over again from the government side of the House that these are only causing more harm because it's keeping the country stagnant, because it demolishes the principle of democracy, because these charities aren't holistic and are only being done to provide, to cater for their needs, to gain people's hearts, and not to gain a better Indonesia in the future. And another flaw to mention is that they did not justify a lot of things. They did not touch a lot of our arguments. We have given a variety of comparisons as well, and they did not touch any of it. They simply stated that it's okay if these political parties simply want to spend a certain amount of rupiah because it's their money anyways. But then we provided over and over again that even if they were to spend 1 billion rupiah, it's just gonna harm a lot of people. So instead of letting them spend 1 billion rupiah for these charities, why don't we make a law to prevent these people from doing these things? We have the net benefit that is only exclusive to our side of the House, and we have mentioned this over and over again. It's explicitly stated by the third speaker of our House. We have proved our burden, which is to prove how bad it is to affect democracy. And they did not prove any of the burden why charity should still be allowed in the status quo of democracy in Indonesia today. And then they mentioned about how they did not analyze the fact that everyone deserves to rule. This is why we win the Delta, right? Because we prove over and over again on our side of the House is the only way where everyone can gain equal access to rule. And because there are already debates, there are already discussion communities, ways that people can actually see these political parties from who they truly are instead of just because they give out charities and so on and so forth. The benefits that they give out so far from the debate is inherently just harmful towards the most vulnerable actors, which are the people of Indonesia, obviously, and especially the poor people of Indonesia. And they believe that simply benefiting these bigger political parties is okay because it's their money anyways. That's their whole argument. That's their whole case. So judges do not buy the case. It did not fit the spirit of the motion. They did not prove why charities is not harmful for democracy and why we should still let them exist in the status quo. And they also mentioned a few laws, if I'm not mistaken, I hope I got this right. Law 22D from Indonesia. It's irrelevant because the spirit of the motion, I will remind you, it is this household motion. It's irrelevant to bring up a certain existing law because the point of this debate is to make a new law, to make a new mechanization, which has been proven since our very first speaker of the House. And again, we have mentioned why we're winning, right? We gave alternatives. We give alternatives why people could still receive certain amount of charities and why these charities, why the policies being made by the political parties are more impactful and are more likely to change Indonesia as a whole. And we gave this alternative to prove to the opposition side of the House why we're winning, and they did not touch this alternative at all. They did not even prove why existing laws with charities and so on and so forth is still better. And we have proven over and over again that it's just damaging society as a whole, which they failed to prove over and over again. And they mentioned about how it's still gonna provide for the poor, right? This is another flaw from them. The goal of these political parties, again, is not to fulfill the needs of these people. It's simply to gain the hearts of the people. From those lacks of analysis, from the fact that they did not touch any of our arguments and did not fit the spirit of the motion, and the fact that we have the net benefit, the delta from this debate, we believe that the government side of the House has the more capability of winning this debate and should and deserve to win.